The following may contain language that is not suitable for all audiences. It's time for the Low Fact Podcast. What is that? Is that some kind of like prayer bell or something?
Yes. It's what you do at the beginning of the meditation.
You and your religious...
It's a Buddhist thing.
Buddhism is a religion.
I think they're Nepalese. They got Om Mani Padme Hum in them. See?
Again, that's a religion.
Yes.
But anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So last time we were talking about the Oathbreaker thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
you said something at the end about... Well... Continue your thought.
The person that was talking about that was also putting forth the idea that if a cop does stuff that like shoots an unarmed person or doesn't follow the Constitution, that their punishment should be super severe, like your pension gone,
right,
and you can never be a cop in that state or something.
Which is never going to happen.
Well, why do you think it's never going to happen?
Because the unions are too strong.
Well, there's also that, but if you're talking about it on a fairness thing...
Well, it would be fair that they wouldn't, but...
But also, if you're talking about... I think that would just keep the worst of the worst. Like, people just wouldn't want to be cops.
No. Because you could just be... Well, I mean, what happens if you get accused falsely and then...
Well, there's also that, but let's say in a perfect world that, yeah, you get accused falsely and then the truth comes out and you're still vindicated, but still.
But that wouldn't happen.
I think the, I'm like the 80-20 rule type of thing on that stuff.
Okay.
Like, I'm not one to sit there and say that all cops are great. I'm not going to say all cops are bad either.
Right.
Unfortunately, just like lawyers, right? I mean, all lawyers aren't horrible, but lawyers have the reputation of being money-grubbing bastards and, whatever.
I don't know why.
Well, it's if you want to go on a few bad apples ruins the bunch or whatever, I mean, that's, it's you don't want to judge a whole group based on the worst ones.
But everybody always judges lawyers, and it pisses me off because, and sometimes I've had friends do it before, and I'm like, do you know how many duties we have as? I was like, we have more duties than any other profession. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot for saying that. Well, I don't come out and say that, right, but that's what I'm thinking.
I understand, because I probably thought that too. But people do that on cops, right? I mean, all cops aren't bad, but all cops aren't great either. And that's the 80-20 rule. Like in a group of 100 folks, 80 of them are complete shit. 20 of them actually know the job.
Well, I've heard the thing...
And in that 20, there's that one person that everybody's trying to be like. That brings that group up.
See, I've heard the thing where people say you go two routes. You either go the cop route or the criminal route, but cops and criminals think very similarly. Because you have to think similarly as a cop to catch a criminal.
They're cut from the same cloth, but if you're surrounded... being a cop...
I'm not saying cops are criminals, but I just heard that.
Is a tough job. I understand that, and they're probably bad cops out there. There are really good cops out there. But 80-20, and then it's just like teachers, right? How come whenever the people are sitting there trying to talk about how great teaching is, they're like, oh, remember that teacher that whatever, right?
Everyone's got one or two teachers.
Everybody's got those couple of teachers that really changed their lives. I'm like, yeah, out of all the teachers you had, one or two.
Right.
And
I had two.
And you're going to tell me that those two teachers are the average, are the norm. Screw you.
Actually, three. I had three good teachers.
Okay, great. But that's like the cop thing, right? You're going to tell me that a cop that sits there and steals, shoots unarmed people, does all this bad stuff, that they're the norm. Screw you. They're not the norm. I think the normal cop is the person that just wants to make a living, a relatively safe, insured living. Not safe physically, but insured living,
Right.
Which is what government work has turned into. It's a really safe profession. Hell, even teaching if you can get past the 5 years in a strong teacher union state where you can't be fired, then, you really just got to hang on for those first 5 years. And then after that, you're kind of golden.
Yeah.
And
Are you talking about university as well?
Well, sure.
Tenure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, getting tenure at university is hard as hell. Once you get it, then you stop doing everything.
Right.
Well, no, I mean, basically, once you get tenure, it just becomes about getting more money for the university and not really teaching.
Right.
But going back to that, so, like, the whole thing about, like, okay, if you make that big mistake, you quote-unquote break your oath and not adhere to the Constitution, your pension should be gone and all that junk. And I'm just like, well, yeah, the interest in there. And plus, it's easy to abuse. I mean, the whole reason... The possibility of abuse is too real for anything. Why are you never going to catch all the criminals? Because it's just too easy to do that.
To be a criminal.
There's always going to be people who want to be criminals.
Yeah.
That's like the weird economic theory I told you about how we're never going to run out of oil. And you looked at me like, you're an idiot. And I was like, no, because it's going to be harder and harder and harder to find oil, and at a certain point, it's not going to be worth it.
But there's always going to be oil.
So that's why there's always going to be oil, because at a certain point, it's just going to be too hard, too expensive to go look for more, and so they're just not going to look for it.
Right.
But, the possibility of there's always going to be a way to try and cheat the system or, find a new way to do stuff. I mean, like, there are all kinds of people that are making money off of making masks.
Like China?
No, even here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The economy changes around. People are gonna adapt and try to get to it. The whole disruptor thing, I think, is kind of funny because you're not really disrupting anything. You're just trying to make a boatload of money. No one's trying to change anything.
They would say that they are.
Oh yeah, is that why all
they
right? That's right. Is that why all these people that have made their boatloads of money, being the quote unquote disruptors, are now trying to keep anybody from making more money?
Huh.
From in fact being disrupted? I thought you were in for being a disruptor. I thought you were trying to change John.
Well, you started as a disruptor.
No, yeah, that's bullshit. Nothing changes.
No, but
the whole foundation of economy is still the same. You're trying to get people to spend money on shit.
There was something else you were talking about in terms of the Oathbreaker, though. Discussion.
What, besides the fact that they're just trying to make a living?
No, it was another point, and now it's gone.
Probably wasn't all that important. But, there was the podcast I was listening to, the guy was sitting there always talking about how, look, these cops that sit there just blindly following orders that are blatantly unconstitutional and probably illegal, and they're really doing it because they just still want to take care of their families and be fed. And
what happens if they don't?
What do you mean?
If they don't, if there's some rules coming from up on high, saying this is the policy which you guys need to enforce, what is a cop supposed to do?
If it's wrong?
Yeah.
Say no.
Okay.
And potentially and pay the price for it.
But all these people who are saying that that's what the cops should be doing, they're not prepared. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, that's the same goes for soldiers, right? If someone tells you a soldier to commit a war crime, like kill a whole bunch of people, and he says no, well, if that side wins the war, then you don't become someone who prevented a war crime. You become someone who disobeyed a direct order in a war, and
you get
and liable for execution.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that like when people make statements like that,
that's why I don't like words.
It's not. It's like they're holding this cop up to the standard that they don't meet.
Well, not even that. That's why I don't like words. Words are easy. You can just spit out words like vomit.
I mean, I've seen so much footage of people observing something really bad going down. Like there was I saw some footage of, it was like a white kid getting attacked by another group. And the guy was like recording it on his phone. No, he wasn't doing anything. He was recording it from like an upper window, and he was like, "Where are the cops?"
Well, somebody's got to call him first, right?
Right. But he's like, "Where are the cops?" I'm like, "Well, what are you doing? You're just recording this fucking thing going down. You're not doing anything." So You know, and I, you know, I understand the mentality of not doing anything, but at the same time, I'm like, that's the first thing that people do is call the cops. People don't want to get involved and stuff, you know.
So
So I'm like, if you're going to complain about a cop not living up to a certain standard, shouldn't you be living up to that standard?
well, in that case, I think it's different because the cop volunteered to uphold a standard.
Right.
But I also agree with you. I believe that there's a certain standard that we're all liable to.
Yeah.
There's a certain duty that we all have that, you know, many of us don't live up to. I rarely help other people because I've got a legal background. And I know that if you don't help anybody, you're okay, unless I have a duty to do it. But if I sit there and start helping and then all of a sudden something happens, then, you know, someone can blame me and take everything from me.
That's kind of fucked up too.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the fact that the system encourages you not to help.
Well, it's supposed to be, you're supposed to do it reasonably. You know, that person out there in the ether, you're supposed to be reasonable in whatever you do.
Right.
But that's been hijacked. You know, there's stories about people that try to rob someone, get hurt, and try to do it, and then sue the owner of the house for, right? Like
Yeah.
some burglar would sit there crawling on your roof trying to get into your house, and then but your roof has like termites in it, and they fall through and hurt themselves, so they sit there and sue the homeowner for not keeping up their house and causing a dangerous condition.
That's just, I don't know, man.
Now I don't know.
Shouldn't even be like entertained, that kind of lawsuit.
Well, I think those lawsuits should be entertained, but they should also be summarily dismissed.
But do they get summarily dismissed?
Well, we don't hear about it if they do. We just hear about this is what happened.
Yeah.
You know, we don't hear about like the warnings on lawnmowers that say don't lift up while the thing's going on. It was because some idiot tried to lift up this lawnmower and got their fingers chopped off.
Right.
You know, I mean, it seems like common sense, right? Look, the American legal system is, for all its idiocy, it can work out right because the only stuff that goes to court, that's like 5%.
Yeah.
Of all the beefs that go to court. And even then, I think a very small percentage of those ever get published. And for for people that don't know, a published legal opinion is something that has to be signed off on by both parties and all that. But those are also the weird cases that's how you learn the law, which is a funny thing. You learn the law by learning the weird cases.
Yeah, that's strange.
I mean, wouldn't it be strange? Doctors learned how to be doctors by learning about all the weird cases that showed up. So they can't. Maybe that's why they can't help the common cold, but they can like, you know, they can fix like AIDS.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're coming into Christmas soon, huh?
We are. Shit, you're right.
Well, merry, happy, whatever.
Happy Christmas.